In many programs, and especially with servers, work needs some kind of lifecycle control. So the things I'm thinking about here are when a client disconnects, when a request times out, or when an operation is no longer needed. And so in order to be able to achieve these things, what we use in Go is a context which is able to signal cancellation. And so like it says here, we'll use these for cancelling work that's no longer needed, applying timeouts to operations, or passing request scoped data through a program. Okay, now context did take me a while to get my head around when I first came across them, but here's a nice explanation which should help you understand it quicker than what I did. What is a context? So a context is a value which is passed between functions. It can carry a cancellation signal, a deadline or a timeout, and you'll use those a lot, or request scoped data. It can carry all three. And the main idea is simple. One part of your program can tell another part, stop now. All right, so let's have a demo here using a manual cancellation. So I'm going to say context and cancel. And here I'm going to create my own cancelable context. The way I can do that is using the context package. I'm going to say context with cancel. Now, as you can see, it's asking me for a parent here. So what you'll often use in that scenario is you'll say context background. Okay, so what's that all about? So context with cancel, passing in context background, has two parts. Context background creates a base root context. This has no cancellation, no deadline, and no values. It just needs to exist. And so it's used as a starting point, often in your main function or in setup code or in tests. The main part that's going to do the work here is the WithCancel. So this creates the child derived context from that parent, and it will return two things. It will return the context and also cancel. So what is cancel? Well, cancel is actually a function value, and you've seen that we can use functions as values, and that is returned by context with cancel. And so what we're getting back here from with cancel is a context and also cancel, which is a function that you can call later to cancel that context. So I think I've got a lesson on function values. I'll attach a link to that so you can go and check that out if you need to get re-familiar. But going back to our line of code here, we start from a root context background. We make a cancelable child context from it. So background is giving us a root context. With cancel wraps it with a cancellation and gives us a cancel function. And so what we're going to do here is we'll write a little program which is just going to wait until the context is cancelled. And so for that, we'll create a Go routine. So just an anonymous function, go func. And what we'll do is we'll just put a sleep in here. So we're going to say time sleep. We shall sleep for 1 second. So 1 times time second. And then I will call cancel. So like I say, cancel is a function value which gets returned here and that you can call later. Okay, and so we don't want the program to complete. We want the program to wait until cancel is called. How can we do that? So if you remember when we worked on wait groups and we had done, well, we have a done method which we can call on our context. Okay, so when we run this, what should happen is the program will run. We create our context here, but we say the program can't go any further. It can't complete until that context is cancelled. And so inside of our Go routine here, it's going to sleep for 1 second, so we should see a pause, then it'll be cancelled, and then the program will complete. Okay, so go run main.go, get a bit of a pause, and then the program completes. After the context was cancelled, and so it receives the signal that it's cancelled and then finishes. Okay, and now another way of doing this is using a timeout. Now in my Build Your First Go app course, we use this quite a lot when we're connecting to the database. So we have a context there and we say, if this operation runs over a specific number of seconds, we just want you to time out and we defer the cancel to the end of the function. So here we're going to have a look at a timeout and we're going to defer that cancellation. So this time, instead of using manual cancellation, we're going to use a timeout. So it'll be context cancel context with timeout. Again, we need a parent, and the typical way to do that is just to say context background, but then we need a timeout duration. So here, how about if we say 2 seconds? So 2 times time second, and then because we're not manually cancelling this, what we'll do is we will say defer cancel. So what we're doing here is we're scheduling cancel to run when main finishes, and so this is a good practice even if the timeout is going to fire anyway. Just guarantees cleanup if you return early. Our next line is something that we've seen before, and this is going to be context done. And so as the name suggests, this is going to wait for the context's done signal. Now in the previous example, that came from the context being manually cancelled, but in this scenario, this is going to block until that timeout elapses. So our 2 second timeout. And then at the very end here, we'll just print a message to say context timed out. Okay, go run main.go, 2 second wait, context timed out. So we created our context using timeout this time. It also returns us a function value for the cancellation. We defer that to the end. And so what we're doing there is saying if for whatever reason at the end of this function, this context is still alive, well, we don't actually want that. So we want to cancel it right at the end, or make sure that it gets cancelled at the end of this function. But what should actually happen, our happy path, is that once the 2 second timeout expires, then we get the done signal, program continues to this line, and we print out context timed out. Okay, so here's a little bit of extra information on timeouts and deadlines. So you've just seen timeout. Have a good look at this one here with deadline and how that works, and we'll use that in the challenge. Okay, so here is that challenge. Write a program that creates a context with a 1 second deadline, waits for the context to be cancelled, and prints a message when the timeout occurs. So as well as doing that, also make sure that we put a cancellation defer in there also. Sure, you can do this. Pause me now and give that a go. Okay, so here I'm just going to tweak what we've got. So what we have is with timeout. What we want is with deadline. And then remember the syntax we use for that. We're not looking for a duration. We're looking for an actual time. So for that, what we'll do is we'll say 1 second from now. So instead of 2 there, that will be 1. So we're getting the current time and we are adding 1 second to it because deadline needs a time at which it should be cancelled, not a duration like we use with timeout. So once again here we are just doing a little bit of housekeeping and making sure that this always cancels by the end of the process. But what should happen is that in 1 second's time from when this context is created, we should get the cancellation signal, and therefore that will stop blocking and we should move on to the next line and print context timed out. Not totally accurate, we'll say context deadline reached. Okay, so hopefully all of that makes sense to you. Let's go and run this. Go run main.go. 1 second elapses and then context deadline reached is printed out. Okay, how did you get on with that? Hopefully you gave it a go. Hopefully it's starting to make sense. What I will say about context is that they didn't really make total sense to me until I'd used lots and lots and lots of them. And so just stick at it, keep going. If you want to put them into real use, then again, check out the Build Your First Go app course where we use them quite a lot with timeouts for when we're connecting to the database.